I call this meeting of the Town Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes?
Here.
Councilman Stanley?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Council President Spadafino?
Present.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Laws 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the Municipal Building Public Notice Bulletin Board located in the main lobby, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk in accordance with the certification which will be entered in the minutes.
We will start this meeting with the presentation from Mayor Dr. Brad Cohen.
Thank you. Members of the Township Council, Council President, the incredible staff in the Township, and most importantly, our residents, thank you for making 2017 one of the most exciting and hopeful for my professional and political career. Now, as a country, I have never seen a fundamentally good people so divided. The tone of public discourse has never been so harsh, so cruel, or so deeply partisan. But in our own little Anatevka, our own little world, our own little corner of the universe, we are one. Yes, we have our disagreements, like the time when he sold him a horse but delivered a mule. That's a fiddler analogy for those who get it. But in the end, we negotiate, discuss, study, research, and yes, ultimately come to consensus through reason and compromise, something that used to define the American politic. I thank each of the council members here for working together for the residents of East Brunswick. The State of the Township address tonight is broken into two segments. The first will concentrate on the main issues that were the subject of the 2016 campaign, namely redevelopment, property taxes, services concentrating on construction, and the construction of the large border wall around East Brunswick. Just joking. The second and last section will give a tour of the main departments here in the township, highlighting some of the achievements for 2017, stating some of our goals for 2018. East Brunswick, as you see it now, is a suburb that grew out of the migration from big cities in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. The structure, architecture, roads, commercial space, car-dependent nature of our community worked for those that sought quiet, safe refuge, living a distance from the city. But times have changed. Led mostly by our millennial and Generation Z children and grandchildren, they seem to prefer city lifestyle characterized by a community where one can live, work, and play in one locale. This trend has been reflected in our own population distribution as demographic studies have shown that our township is aging. We must attract young adults and families back to East Brunswick, and we must redevelop our vacant commercial space to fit in with the needs, shopping patterns, and demands of a new economy. One that is less dependent on cars, one that does a large amount of shopping online, one that cares about its environment, and one that provides a rich, diverse, and exciting lifestyle. During 2017, we did create and selected members for the East Brunswick Redevelopment Agency. The purpose was to provide a stable body, separate from the governing body, that could act solely and completely on redevelopment. Developers and consultants prefer this format as it is away from politics and allows planning, construction, and financial commitments without the fear that the rug could be pulled out due to a change in township government. The resumes of each of the commissioners are available on the township website, but you cannot find a more able, qualified, diverse, and committed group of fellow residents led by Councilman Jim Wendell to shepherd this process. Despite the controversy, we were able to redefine some of the areas of redevelopment as areas of need and redevelopment with the right of condemnation. This has allowed the town to stimulate meaningful discussions with some of the larger developers and commercial real estate owners in the redevelopment zones. Our goal is to act in the interest of the town and create an area that would attract the kinds of businesses, restaurants, nightlife, and services that East Brunswick residents today can only find in areas outside of East Brunswick. We can do better, much better, and we will treat every property owner with the respect they deserve and is guaranteed by law. The planning process is well underway as we look to develop a transit-oriented development in the northernmost area of Route 18. This will center and expand upon our bus and parking utility that we already operate. Honoring my commitment to keep this an open and transparent process, I recently recreated the Economic Development Advisory Committee. They are charged with developing a strategic plan for the redevelopment zones and providing town halls for open and public discussion of our plans. The strategic planning session is going to be scheduled for February 6th at 7 p.m. in the Community Arts Center. This is open to the public, so everyone is invited. There will be a presentation of our progress and open tables for suggestions. The goal is to develop a town plan for redevelopment that has the most complete list of township wishes and desires. Once our plan is complete, we will be ready to negotiate with the present property owners or other potential developers and hammer out a revitalized Route 18 corridor that redefines East Brunswick in a way that makes us proud of our community and attracts the next generation of East Brunswick residents. As we look to 2018, I anticipate that the first area to be redeveloped will be the 110 Tices or Wonder Bread area located behind Dick's Sporting Goods. The Kmart was recently purchased and is likely to be renovated into much smaller commercial space. And we did see a series of record-breaking stores and restaurant and office openings this year, including the Park Chateau, pictured up there, Red Robin, Moe's, Home Goods, Aldi, Five Guys, Witham, Smith & Brown, and many others. This year we look forward to many more new openings and groundbreaking for many others. When it comes to property taxes, let me keep this simple. Any long-term stabilization or reduction in property taxes can only occur if we bring in new ratables to the township. It's that simple. We cannot cut our way to prosperity. Pruning is one thing, but if you cut too many branches off a tree, it just dies. We've spent a good part of this year looking at all the departments and have made cuts where it was possible. This has often been through attrition, cost analysis, or straight budget cuts. Our goal is to keep property taxes stable this year. This will depend in large part on the ability of the Board of Education to likewise limit any increase. Like most private businesses, we are asking public workers to do more with less, and they are responding. We cannot ask less of ourselves than is being demanded of the residents that pay our bills. On a good note, 2017 saw $8.2 million in new revenues balanced against $3 million in refunds due to tax appeals. Keep in mind that all refunds are due to tax appeals are 100% paid for by the township. We cannot collect back money that has already been distributed to the public schools, county, library, or fire districts. As of now, East Brunswick's market value has been stable and East Brunswick remains a desirable community to move. Our equalization ratio has remained stable, but the data to determine those rates is over 30 years old, making East Brunswick long due for a reevaluation. This will happen when and only when it's required by the state. While the boost to ratables from redevelopment will take some time, we've put in place several initiatives to help stabilize taxes now. The Shop East Brunswick program was started in June. This program allows residents to accumulate savings from discounts offered by local merchants and apply those savings directly to property tax reduction. The program runs from May 1st to April 30th, and this is done so that a full year of savings can be applied to a new tax bill, since those bills are generated in the summer each year. A second reward card was introduced in October called the Estate Card. And like the Shop East Brunswick card, it does provide savings from local stores, but also includes 3,200 stores throughout the nation, including online shopping. You can go to the township website to find out more information about those programs, or you can just call the Office of Economic Development right here at the township. The past year, we also reestablished the East Brunswick Chamber of Commerce. This was done to energize and organize our business community into a critical partner with the township. We need to keep our businesses. We need to be receptive to their needs, and we need to do our part to help them thrive. An active, engaged, and excited business community is the best recipe to attract new businesses to East Brunswick. Looking forward, one of my priorities for this year is to look to shared service agreements with surrounding towns. Clearly, New Jersey has its economic challenges ahead. We are a big town, and we need to take the lead in forging new and innovative ways to consolidate services between towns. This duplication of services cannot be sustained, and we shall take the lead in looking at ways to become more efficient by getting away from that home rule paradigm which burdens New Jersey with excess administration. We do need to keep aware of several factors that can impact our financial plans in ways that are completely outside the township's control. First, we have all of our union contracts which have yet to settle. And this is going to be deeply dependent upon Trenton as it relates to the Chapter 78, which is the employee contribution to health care and pension plans, and the 2% cap, all scheduled to expire. These are open issues and await a final decision by Governor Murphy. The East Brunswick Education Association contract with the East Brunswick Board of Education has the exact same issues and has not settled. Keep in mind that salaries and benefits are 75% of the Board of Education's expenses, and the Board of Education gets almost 65% of your tax dollar. So do the math. This means that almost 50% of your tax bill will be determined by that one contract alone. Healthcare costs. We were very lucky this year. We renegotiated our healthcare carrier and went with a new carrier, but it is a self-funded plan, which means that in a year that can change completely because self-funded plans are experience-based. Any bad group of outcomes can affect significantly the rates going forward. The new tax law that just passed this past month, while we'll probably not see the effect this year, it won't happen till filing for 2018, which doesn't take place until April of 2019. But what effect that may have on property values is yet undetermined. And then finally, we have still a number of outstanding tax appeals, mostly on commercial space, which has a very high vacancy rate out on the highway, which can impact their value. So all of those things can impact the financials that are outside township control. When it comes to the commitment to providing excellent services, my first area of concern was the planning, engineering, and construction department. We needed to recognize the importance of providing a service that allows East Brunswick to be attractive to the business development community and to residents, all while keeping to safety codes and standards. In a world where businesses can go elsewhere, we need to be customer-driven and technology-savvy. To that end, 2017 saw a massive streamlining of the construction department. Changes included the application of the Mitchell-Humphrey and FastTrack.gov software. This will all help streamline the process of construction through automation. This will also increase accountability to residents by allowing them to view the process online. The myth that we did uncover in this process is that many of the work slowdowns in town have actually not been a problem with the town, but have often been a problem with GCs who take on too many jobs and simply want to say that the reason that they can't get any work done is because of the town, which isn't always true. But the program will give residents the opportunity to keep track of their projects by themselves. Inspectors will be getting tablets this year, enabling them to issue permits directly in the field. And the system will also allow residents and businesses to submit projects, plans, alterations to plans, and fees all online. And we also reorganized and renovated the construction department and workspace downstairs to promote efficiency and allow for proactive review of plans with inspectors prior to commencing any work. Highlights for the department include that we continued our pavement management plan this past year, repaving 3.5 miles of road at a cost of $1 million. We finished the tennis courts at Bicentennial and Lenape Park and the pickleball courts at Lenape. We completed the new building at the Crystal Springs, which was used and is still used for bathroom, storage, registration, and food vendors. And we renovated the lights and road at the corner of New Brunswick Avenue and Ruse Lane that was long overdue. Plans for 2018 include continuation of our pavement management plan. We've allotted $1.7 million this year in hope of doubling the number of miles of road that we repave over that we did last year. But this process is going to have to continue if we are ever to catch up with the 180 miles of township road. Edgeboro Road will get a long overdue resurfacing this summer. There will be new light designs on the corner of Old Bridge Turnpike and Ruse and Cranberry and Fern. Road construction and reconstruction will take place on Dunham's Corner between Riders and Cranberry Road over the summer. And finally, we're going to start a 4-year project of developing bike paths and lanes throughout the township. That will start this spring. And the plans are to work with surrounding towns so that we can provide an interconnecting connection of bike paths and lanes. The Department of Public Safety will be the topic of my next Facebook Live presentation on January 31st. But some highlights: in keeping with the township's need for fiscal restraint, we operate with 83 officers, one of the lowest police-to-population ratios, and we consistently have among the highest arrest records in the county. These men and women of the force are working really hard, keeping the township and our community safe. They deserve our applause and our gratitude. In fact, the Home News Tribune did recognize our police force by ranking them the best police department in Middlesex County for the 2nd year in a row, which is great. The department has some of the highest standards, and to that end, the EBPD started a 12-month voluntary accreditation program this past summer. It's offered through the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police and is expected to be completed by this summer. There was a huge emphasis placed on community policing, increasing the staff to 2 officers over the one they had previously. While they have many, many programs, I would like to highlight one. And that program is their security survey, vulnerability, and risk assessment program that they offer for free. As we all know, we live in a new age of threats. And while school emergencies capture national attention and are tragic, fortunately, they are rare. And our schools have been well trained and prepared for years through lockdown, fire, and active shooter drills that they do regularly. But the fact remains that houses of worship are attacked far more frequently, and I do not want to be that mayor one night on the news telling the public that I never thought that it could happen here. So the East Brunswick Police Department and I will be making a big push to every house of worship this year to participate in that program. And I'm not really asking. This is also offered to hotels and to large conference centers. Department of Parks and Recreation had another busy year. They provided 400 programs and 16 special events this year. They run multiple programs and brought in about $2.6 million in revenue this year, with $1.2 million of that revenue coming from Crystal Springs alone. Crystal Springs was ranked the #1 public water park in New Jersey this past year, and some of our goals for 2018 is again the bike pass and lane process, which will start on Dunham's Corner Road and Hardenberg Lane. We will begin the process of the bike path to connect Crystal Springs and the Community Arts Center when we finally did get our approval from the New Jersey DOT, as that comes with state and federal aid. We will begin pickleball conversion of the skate park. We will continue major programming with attention paid to alternating Saturdays and Sundays. We will also be looking to develop the Freed site. And for most of you who don't remember what that is, that's the Superfund site that sits at the end of of Fresh Ponds Road on the border of Milltown, which was closed years ago as a Superfund site. As we understand it, most of the problem now is deep well water, and they don't need quite as much space to clean that up. So we're working with the EPA to remove some of the restricted use, return it to the town, and use it for public park use. And I actually have some pictures that I got from walking that site. I don't think many people know or realize how beautiful it really is. DPW is responsible for the 165,000 square feet of space in the township's 16 buildings. Highlights of their year included conversion to a lot of energy-efficient upgrades here in the municipal building, vehicle maintenance program, which continues to save us thousands of dollars on our fleets of vehicles. They crack-sealed about 25 miles of road and managed stormwater maintenance, sweeping, and drain maintenance on 54 miles of road. They maintain an active brine program. Most of you have seen that on the roads this winter. It's now become a routine part of our snow and ice control, and any excess is actually sold to other towns. The Water Division is responsible for maintaining the 240 miles of water mains in East Brunswick. And as you all know, we've had many water main breaks this past year. The use of social media, however, including Nixle, has allowed for easy and quick dissemination of this information, thus increasing public awareness. But that being said, it has been a bad winter. In fact, it is our worst winter in 10 years, and it's not over. The water main breaks have generally been related to rapid temperature changes, which we have experienced this past season, and has been a problem around the entire region. It is not just East Brunswick. Water is regularly monitored for lead, bacteria, chlorine, and other chemicals. The consumer confidence report that they produce is available on the utility website, and it's posted on EBTV and on your water sewer bills. After 17 years of service to our community, Rachel Steinberg, the director of the Department on Aging and Senior Center, retired. And while we're sad to see her go, we are happy to welcome Ms. Danielle McCallie to the township and the department as its new director. She started a couple of hours ago. She started today. Danielle brings a lifetime of experience in the public and private sector, and I'm sure that our senior center will benefit from her leadership. Some of the programs that they do is to continue a full schedule of programming inside and outside of the senior center. They do SHIP and Medicare advising services. They've provided free tax returns again this year. They provided over 1,000 social service contacts. They continue their Meals on Wheels program, and the senior center does benefit from having a full-time chef on staff. The center implemented the My Senior program this year, and while it's up and running, they've yet to implement the full range of services it provides. That will be an objective for this year. It was also a milestone year for our library as we celebrated our 50th anniversary. In this half-century, our library has grown to become one of the busiest and most well-respected libraries in New Jersey. Highlights of the golden anniversary year include the long-awaited renovations to the flooring, furniture, and several rooms. I hope most of you had an opportunity to see. They created the EB Create Makerspace, an area that's dedicated for technology and crafting, featuring a recording studio. The library saw 350,000 visitors this year, registered 2,000 new users, and celebrated the circulation of its 300 millionth item. They provided healthcare, wellness, and medication disease information through its award-winning Just for the Health of It program. And they provided many programs and committed to increasing these options through shared programmings with several township departments and commissions. This is all part of a township and library commitment to bringing the community together. The township, speaking of bringing the community together, the township has many opportunities for community involvement. There are many boards, commissions, councils, and committees that rely on public support. And I'm pleased to say that for the first time in many, many years, we have almost all positions filled. I'm truly grateful to the residents who have offered hours of their time, and I could say with certainty that this is the most diverse group of volunteers the township has ever seen, a true reflection of the diverse and vibrant community East Brunswick has become. In keeping with my commitment to transparency and public access to matters of importance, I began to access social media and EBTV to highlight topics of interest. My regular monthly Facebook Live presentations have focused on topics such as redevelopment, snow removal, road repair, and others. The next program on public safety will air on the 31st at 7 p.m. In closing, I'd like to publicly thank my most important acquisition this past year, our business administrator, Joseph Crisculo. He's been an invaluable asset to me, the township, my office, the municipal employees, and most important, the 50,000 residents that call East Brunswick their home. A hearty thank you to the Township Council, our department directors, and the employees of the township, all of whom I consider to be friends. A huge debt of gratitude to my family for putting up with me when I'm home and actually accepting the fact that most of the time I'm not really home. But the biggest thank you goes to the 50,000 residents of the Township of East Brunswick who have placed their faith in me. This really is the best job that I could want, and I intend to keep my promise to always act in the town's best interest above all. God bless you, the Township, and the United States of America.
Thank you, Mayor Cohen. We will take a 5-minute recess in order to rearrange the room and allow anybody who wants to leave quietly. Moving on to the item for public hearing of following ordinance, 18-01, calendar year 2018 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A 4-4514, up 1% from 2017.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion to adopt by Councilman Hughes, second by Councilman Wendell. Before we move to the public portion on this, I would like to ask our township administrator to just explain what this ordinance means so that there's a clear understanding by the public.
Yeah, this is required by law if we're going to increase appropriations in excess of the previous year's allotment, that the ordinance be passed. It also is an important part of this is to establish a cap bank. So any funds that we don't use in this year can be spent within the next 2 years. So it's important to have some money or funding set aside for the future if we have some unforeseen issues or problems in that particular area. So that's the basic summation of it, Council President.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, I will now move on to any discussion by anyone from council. Seeing none, will Ms. Perry please call the roll?
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving on to reports. Mayor, is there anything further you'd like to add today?
I think I spoke enough.
Thank you. Township Administrator?
No, sir.
Council?
Council President, there's just one item on the consent agenda. I'd like to amend item H, list the contract for $18,914. It should be not to exceed $18,914. That's item H.
So noted. Anyone from council having any reports or additions to report tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to the public portion. Please state your name and address for the record. Limit your comments to 5 minutes and address all of your comments to the chair. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak this evening?
My name is Robin Rushfield. I live at 113 Hillsdale Road. This is my colleague, Anita Varshney. She is at 17 Diana Court in East Brunswick. We are members of the Friends of the Library Executive Board. And we're just here today because this is the time of year when we look for membership renewals for the calendar year. So I thought I would let people know how their donations to the Friends of the Library help the library. I would also like to let you know the ways in which the Friends' money cannot help the library. So if you've attended one of the many programs held in the library building, you're probably getting an experience that's made possible by the Friends of the Library. I was looking at the library calendar on their website, and I see tween cooking party on Thursday this week, iPad story time on Friday, cooking and craft event on Saturday. I know that these programs are possible because we bought the necessary supplies. If you've ever been to one of the Tuesday movies, then you know that we pay the rental fee for those movies. Very popular book discussion group that's held on the second Thursday of every month, and there are always many copies of the books. Well, the library gets those copies because we buy them, and then when we don't need to keep as many at the library, we sell them at our book sale, which is held at Brunswick Square Mall every spring. On the calendar, I also see an origami club that meets in the new makerspace this Wednesday. The Friends of the Library has been stocking the makerspace with a great assortment of materials and activities for patrons to borrow and use at programs held there. Mayor Cohen showed the picture with the sewing machine. I know that we bought those sewing machines. If we haven't purchased the supplies needed for a program, we've provided the snacks that are served during that program. The Museum Pass program is also a great addition to the library. This year it has been expanded to provide more free passes to museums. There are museums in New York City, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. We also purchased additional passes for the Grounds for Sculpture program, which is one of the most popular museums. And I noticed on the website that there are a few museums that if you don't want to go into the library to pick up the pass, you can actually print your pass from home. You reserve the time, and you can print your pass at home. When you attend one of the programs in our meeting rooms, you're sitting on chairs that were purchased by the Friends of the Library. If your children are attending a program in the Youth Services programming area, they are working at tables purchased by the Friends of the Library. They need to walk the carpeting purchased by the Friends of the Library to get to that programming area. And if you are waiting for those children to finish their programs, you can sit in one of the comfortable chairs we purchased for the quiet reading area along the back section of the library. And the teens in East Brunswick are able to satisfy the many required volunteer hours that they need for school by participating in activities that are held at the library but sponsored by the Friends of the Library, and by volunteering at Friends of the Library fundraising events. We get a lot of teens come to help us at our book sale. But this is what we cannot do. Our bylaws specifically state, and here I quote, "As a tax-sponsored public institution, the library will receive adequate operating and capital budgets from the
1 minute.
municipality." Excuse me?
1 minute.
Okay. The Friends will provide library resources which would not otherwise be available through regular funding. The Friends will not fund basic library operating expenses, which are the responsibility of the municipality. These include such things as staff salaries, basic materials, purchases, utilities, building maintenance and overhead, and mandated building improvements. The bylaws also state all contributions made by the Friends of the Library will be donated for a specific purpose. No cash donations will be made to the library's operating budget. I strongly urge you all to join the Friends of the Library. Friends come in all varieties. Some just make a donation. Some help us at our events. some become active on our executive board, and we become friends for life. You can find application envelopes at the library, you can find forms online, or you can even link to our secure site by making your donation through the internet. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your part. I know that all of the members of the council and the mayor are all friends of the library, and I encourage everyone in town to help to support the most amazing library in the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is James Hawes, and before everyone rolls their eyes, I live in Lexington Village, and what I'd like to talk about the parking. I know this is a very sore subject, and we've been dealing with our association, and it's getting nowhere. And recently, in the last snowstorm, one officer went up and down, Village Drive, which goes around Lexington Village, and gave out 20 parking tickets at $50 a pop. And we can't park in the indentations that were made. I don't know what the difference between the indentations on Cranberry Road and the indentations on where I live on Wilson Court, what the difference may be, but we can park at one, but we can't park at the other. I've lived here for over 30 years. I remember Crystal Springs when it was a pond, Myers Shopping Center, Mickey's Donut Land, all these, and my kids went through every school here. My special needs son went through a few different ones, and Camp Daisy for 20 years. And everything was great, but I can't park my car in front of my own home. It's that bad. On several, Wilson, Stone, and Walton Court, there's 20 homes in each one, and 18 parking spots in the front. Who doesn't get a spot? The mom with the small children, the elderly lady, or the handicapped child? So I've talked to the mayor, and I would like you to just think about suspending the indented parking on Village Drive just for this winter, till what, March? So that our association and maybe the township can come up with something on where we can put in more parking for us instead of giving out tickets. I mean, he said legally, I don't know if we can, and a lawsuit and this and that, but if you could talk to the chief of police or whatever and just say, hey, give him a break this winter, this snowstorm. I don't know, but I mean, I can't fit that car on the roof. I can't put it on the grass. I can't fit it in my pocket. I mean, and our association is getting, their idea is stickers. Who doesn't get a parking spot? So hopefully that maybe you'll think of something or talk to our association or I don't know what, but help us out a little bit. Because I don't have $50 to dish out every time I get a ticket out there. Thank you very much, and thank you for all doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. I'm sure the mayor and township administrator will look into all options that are available to us. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? State your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Tracy Fink, 12 Bennington Court. I think this is library night tonight because I'm here on behalf of the East Brunswick Public Library Foundation Board, and I want to publicly thank the mayor for co-chairing our gala in the fall in honor of the 50th anniversary. We had a really successful event that night. I know many of you were there. It was fantastic. Not only were we able to highlight some of the activities that the library had done in the last 50 years, we were also able to bring people to the Park Chateau, which is now another jewel of our town. I think it's really important to remember the role that our library plays in our town as not only a community center, but it really is the center of town. We appreciate your continued support as we, as the foundation, fund some renovations that are earmarked specifically to keep our library relevant. And I also think it's great that you highlighted the library in the state of the town. So thank you very much, and thank you, Mayor, and your wife for being our honorary co-chairs. We appreciate it, and for bringing your friends and your colleagues to the event as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time?
You can't come back up.
I'm sorry you can't return to the podium, but afterwards you can talk to the township administrator. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? If not, moving on to the consent agenda. Oh, I closed the public portion. We're moving on to the consent agenda.
Can I just ask a question? When you put that for H, not to exceed, did you just want it written on the agenda, or did you actually want it written in the
It's an amendment to the
resolution?
resolution in paragraph 1.
Just wanted to get it clear.
Is there anyone wishing any part of the agenda to be removed? If not, moving on, I will ask for a motion for the following. A, 16277, rejecting bids for furnishing the Department of Recreation, Parks, and Community Service Day Camp and Daisy Recreation Program busing. B, 16278 of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement with the Fire District Number 2. C, 16279, 2018 mayor appointments with the advice and consent of the Township Council to various boards and commissions, Commission on Aging and Recreation. D, 16280, qualifying providers of professional services pursuant to the fair and open process, NJSA 1944A-20.1, Gannett Fleming, Inc., BPU water rate expert for $17,000. E, 16281, authorizing release of performance guarantee for 72 Dutch Road Associates, Koch Lane. F, 16282, awarding contract to Lucas Brothers, Inc. for the 2018 Pavement Management Program contract number 2018-01 in $682,928.64. G, 16283, authorizing release of performance guarantees for Eastwoods Phase 2, Buckingham Drive and Winchester Drive. H, 16284, awarding contract to CME Associates Pump Station Capacity Evaluation as permitted under NJSA 40A 11-1 at seek $18,914. I, approval of raffle license RA 2377, PTA Memorial School, February 24th, 2018. J, approval of raffle license RA 2378, PTA Memorial School, February 24th, 2018. K, approval of raffle license RA 2379, PTA Lawrence Brook, March 23rd, 2018. L, approval of raffle license RA 2380, PTA Lawrence Brook, March 23rd, 2018. M, approval of raffle license RA 2381, PTA Warnsdorf for February 23rd, 2018. N, approval of council reorganization agenda and council meeting of January 8th, 2018. O, approval of bill list, approval of bills owed by the township to various individuals, companies, and accounts.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving on to orders requiring a public hearing date, February 5th. There are none. Any new business for the good of the cause?
I
Councilman
just
Wendell?
would like to reiterate a little one item that the mayor was talking about. It's the Economic Development Advisory Committee's open forum that we're going to have on February 6th. I urge everybody to come out and see the plans for the redevelopment areas and provide some ideas as to what the township could be doing there to better serve the residents.
Thank you, Councilman Wendell. Anyone else? Councilman Sterling?
Yeah, I just want to bring to everybody's attention the East Brunswick Public Library and the Human Relations Council. In recognition of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, they're presenting a program tomorrow evening January 23rd at 7 p.m. at the library for protecting human rights in the 21st century, challenges and opportunities. Dr. Bill Fernekes will be discussing how human rights issues have local, national, and global dimensions. He will address the underlying tensions in human rights issues and emphasize the role of activism in protecting the rights of all in the 21st century. And this program is supported by the Friends of the East Brunswick Library. So I encourage everybody to do come out tomorrow evening to this program.
Thank you. Anyone else? May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is ended. Thank you.